Hey, I have been really struggling with getting a video out. We've had a lot of other things on our minds here. You may have heard. Honestly, it's been pretty hard to be here, even as a middle class white lady living in a middle class area of the city of Minneapolis. People here are just absolutely filled with grief for our city and our neighbors. We're outraged at the lawlessness happening in our streets by federal agents. There's anger and fear, and the biggest feeling I think of all, though, is resolve. I moved to Minneapolis 10 years ago, and I had a vague idea of what this place would be like. Cold winters, progressive politics, far removed from the coast and other big cities. I knew that people liked parks and nature and hot dish, big lakes and cabins and bicycles and good education, and that there was a strong community of people that like things like knitting and making things with their hands. So a little bit old school in a way, but I really didn't know the most important thing. And it's a quality that I've learned about over and over again in the time that I've been here. And it is what makes me most grateful to live here right now. In this very hard time. I would not want to be anywhere else, and I mean that completely sincerely. Every time something awful happens here during this occupation of our city, the people of this state have stood together peacefully, and they've stepped up to do what they can to help their neighbors. The need here is great, and it takes absolutely everyone to fill the gaps. I have never felt more sure that I live in a real community than I do right now. I'll be very honest, I was feeling pretty low because after the killing of Alex Preddy last weekend, just one day after there was a massive protest march that estimated to have been 50,000 people just in downtown on a weekday when temperatures were exceedingly cold, minus 20 at the start of that day, and with brutal wind chills, people still showed up. We didn't want this here. We have a safe, happy city and state unless there are masked secret police out terrorizing us and our neighbors. What people understand here is collective action, and this is the power of community and the power of masses of people who stand together to either do something for others or against things being done to others. And it's been this combination that has absolutely moved me to tears on more than one occasion over the past few weeks. So let's talk about what this has looked like here, and I'll let you imagine what life is like here in peaceful times when we're not having to do this stuff. So neighbors have immediately organized mutual aid, and if you're not familiar with that term, mutual aid is simply people, neighbors, getting together to contribute their resources to alleviate a need. Before living here, I had very little real awareness of it. Of course, I donated to charity and stuff like that, but this beautiful place has really got this down. Many people here do not feel safe leaving their homes for work, for school, to take their pets out, to go grocery shopping, just to handle basic needs. And that gap has been being filled by the generosity of people giving money and packing bags of food and delivering anything needed to people trapped inside their homes. And I'm talking about legal people here, legal immigrants and legal citizens, just so we're extremely clear. People are donating skills as simple as picking up illegally detained people from the detention center. They take their coats and their phones and they let them out in the middle of the night with no money. They're even taking their jewelry and keeping it, so losing their wedding rings. These items are not returned, so they're being released in the middle of the night or even in the day here in Minnesota, and it is very, very cold here. We are below zero every night. These are traumatized people at this point. So how do people here respond? They sit in their cars outside of the federal detention center, and as they see people come out, people they don't even know, they provide a coat, a disposable phone, and a ride so that they can get back home. People are donating money for food, rent, legal advice. They're donating notary services, grocery drop-off, rides to work, time spent at public bus stops and at schools to protect children and parents, either trying to get to work or get their kids into the school building. They are volunteering to be legal observers and record when people are being taken. People still do this, even though they have now killed 2 people that were doing that, just standing there recording, not interfering, simply watching. Everything that's been done here by citizens has been done peacefully, and we know that we must We must remain peaceful because they would prefer violence and an excuse. And people here will not give them that excuse. People have chosen community. And a final thing, I said I was feeling very low yesterday or earlier. My anxiety through the roof about what's happening here and how overwhelming it can feel. Last night, my friends and I went to a small event with poets and local musicians. Hearing their words and songs about this city and seeing the food that people brought for the food drive that was part of this and the money that people were donating on their way in to help immigrants really made me feel hopeful again. Being in that room and recognizing friendly faces from my community, all in the same spot with the same fears, the same hopes, and the same resolve bolstered me so much. And that just reinforced the idea that we need to do this together and we can do this. The people of Minnesota are good and they are determined and creative. Before I went to bed, I saw a picture of a massive luminary on Lake Nokomis, which is in the flight path from MSP, and it was read "Ice Out" in candles so people flying over could see the message. We truly stand together here. This place takes the concept of community very seriously, and we call each other neighbor. We care for each other, and I feel so incredibly grateful to be a part of it. It reminds me what it means to be a human. Thanks for watching.